Hello, and welcome to episode 43 of Expertise is Overrated, and also first episode of season 2, the podcast that takes the time to answer the questions you didn't know you didn't want the answers to. I'm Sean.
And I'm Vib, and neither of us has any clue what we're talking about, as you exemplified in that intro sentence.
Yeah, that stumbled slightly.
Yeah, that was really good, mate. Welcome back to season 2, everyone. Even though we've just told you that we're canning this as a routine, but
the first take was so much better.
Well, yeah, that's right. This is actually the second time that we're having a go at recording this, isn't it?
It is.
And
it is.
You absolutely fucked it. But yeah, welcome back to season 2. Hopefully you've listened to our little update on what season 2 is going to be like. Because that's a professional, isn't it, season 2?
Apparently we're ignoring the update, especially the bits about being more professional, more polished, and just generally a little bit tighter.
Well, we said to the best of our ability, I think, or something to that effect.
I hope so.
Which it turns out isn't very high standard.
Keeping with the ignoring what everything we said in the season 2 update. We did tell you that we're going to absolutely can tinfoil as a routine, but this episode we're going to be awarding the much vaunted Expertise is Overrated Tinfoil Award.
Absolutely we are. As a reminder, this is an award that we give out at the start of an episode if someone managed to say something truly outrageous in the episode that went before. Now, Sean, it pleases me greatly to announce that you've got the first tinfoil of season 2, and potentially the only tinfoil of season 2.
Why is this not covered by hot take privilege?
Because it was so utterly outrageous that even the old gods couldn't have protected you from this one.
Yeah.
Not even the old gods and the new and the Lord of Light could have done
Lord
anything.
Lord of Light, the Great Stallion, none of them.
Ed Muirtully is the greatest example of true chivalry in A Song of Ice and Fire. Is the hottest of scorchingly hot takes.
I don't even agree with it. I'm just wrong. I was just talking nonsense specifically with that point. This is a series that has Brienne of Tarth in it. On whose behalf I've gone into bat multiple times on this podcast.
Yes, but somehow I think you just got caught up in your own.
In my own hype.
Shit, really. Yeah. So I think we can all agree that Ed Muirtully is not, in fact, the greatest example of true chivalry.
No,
and
he is not.
For that, yes, we're getting tinfoil. But like I say, we'll see if there's any more tinfoils that need to be awarded this season. I'd be very surprised if we didn't.
For some reason, I feel like every time I point out tinfoil, I'm going to be told that it's not good enough. No, I don't know. It's just
I know it's going to be a great loophole for me. It's going to be great.
So how are we opening season 2?
We're opening season 2 with something that we're quite good at, I think, which is lists.
Oh, excellent. Yes, we are. I do love a good list.
We're doing something a little bit different this time, though, because we've come up with sort of, not top 5, but 5 different things, and we're going to try and combine it into a joint 5 things that we agree on.
So that's not happening.
Yeah, we had a good run, didn't we?
It was. I admire the aspiration.
Well, I maybe we can do it. I don't know.
Well, let's see. So obviously, Amazon is just throwing money around at people to make TV shows. So our plan is to come up with a list of 5 pieces of fantasy or sci-fi media, primarily books, that we think we could turn into top-notch Amazon Prime TV shows. And then because, obviously, Amazon execs and Jeff Bezos are listeners to our podcast, we expect a phone call.
Yeah, and they're very good with their money.
In the not-too-distant future, offering us loads and loads of cash to do this. So fingers crossed, this will be our last episode.
Yeah, I mean, I'm expecting a few bill at least,
A few bill.
I mean, Jeff, if you're listening, which of course you are. What else are you doing with your time? Then yeah, a few billion to fund some of these projects, eh?
Isn't the answer to that having a Twitter spat with Elon Musk about who has the hottest wife?
Is that the answer? It might be the
I
answer,
feel
actually.
like that's what Jeff Bezos does. He's probably been banned from Twitter, though.
Ooh, there's an interesting point, actually. I wonder
Oh
if
my
Jeff
god,
Bezos is still on
can
Twitter.
you imagine if it turns out that Elon Musk spent $44 billion just to ban at Jeff Bezos from Twitter?
You know what? I would actually not expect anything else from him.
No, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds like the insane world in which we live.
Unfortunately, Jeff Bezos is on Twitter and has got a blue tick.
A blue tick? Gosh, not even one of the ones where you have to pay for it.
6 million followers. Well, there you go.
Give us a retweet, Jeff. Go on.
And we will say that your wife is Alta.
Yeah, we will.
Is he married again?
I've no idea. We're absolutely for sale, though, Jeff. Don't worry.
We are. We've also really gone off piste with this whole Jeff Bezos fund us thing. Season 2, folks. It's going to be great.
Let's get to it. Do you want to go through your list first?
I can go through my list first, yeah. So 5 quote-unquote books from quote-unquote fantasy/sci-fi things that I would like to see turned into something on screen. Now, I think we can come back to this, but a debate on film versus TV show, I'm sure.
Sure, I think it's translation to the screen, right? It's for us and the showrunners to work out what the best medium ultimately is.
I still can't read, so it really would help me out a lot. But let me just read this list that I've got here. So, in no particular order, I would have the Dresden Files, of course.
Yep.
That's what's going to make us rich and famous one day. Then I've got Garth Nix's sort of the Old Kingdom series of fantasy novels. Then I've got Eisenhorn from the 40k universe. Then it gets a bit difficult for me, you see. I think then I've got what is objectively not fantasy, but very much sci-fi. It's a book by Andy Weir called Project Hail Mary. So it's the guy who wrote The Martian, which is a great book, fantastic film.
And also the film shows that you can translate his material into the silver screen.
Absolutely.
I like that. Strategic, quite very good.
Yeah. So that's 4. And the 5th spot was difficult. The obvious choice is, of course, A Song of Ice and Fire. Because that really would be great on the screen.
Yeah.
Such a shit joke if you've had to do it twice in recording.
That was much funnier the first time.
I'm going to blame you for that somehow.
That's fair. No, I think it's a fair point, because I've got one on my. I don't have A Song of Ice and Fire, but I have one. In fact, I have 2 on my list that have previously been made into films or TV, potentially even arguably 3. And I think what we're saying there is we could do it better.
Arguably, or that we just didn't really get the memo that these things do in fact exist on TV or something.
Perhaps, yeah.
But yeah, Song of Ice and Fire was what I generally wrote down first, but I was like, that's a bit.
I don't know. I think I want to come back to A Song of Ice and Fire. Obviously, I've got a list as well, but I think there's an interesting discussion to be had there around.
Okay, well we can park it.
Around remaking it.
Then obviously anything by Sanderson I think would work quite well. I thought of Patrick Rothfuss's Name of the Wind trilogy. I don't actually know what the trilogy is called, but that's the name of the first book.
Kingkiller Chronicles.
That's the one, the Kingkiller Chronicles.
You can't call it a trilogy if he's only published 2 books.
Well, and this is a real issue, isn't it? And again, we'll talk about it later, but I've got serious doubts that he's going to be able to do that in 3 books.
No, I think that's fair.
So yeah, I could also go for a shameless plug for a book that my friend wrote, although it's also something that she said is going to be a trilogy and she's only published 1. I actually buy it on Amazon. It's called The Last Valkyrie.
That's cool. I will check that out.
It's the sort of young adult fiction one. There's a really different genre of something called The Last Valkyrie on Amazon as well. It's not that.
Is there a self-published romance novel called The Last Valkyrie?
I don't know if it's so much romance as it is just sort of yeah, I don't really want to put a label on
Could
it, but
could
when
could it
when I first googled it, when she was like, "Oh, I've published it on Amazon, go and
could
check
it
it out,"
feature? Could the alternative feature on My Dad Wrote a Porno?
it's entirely possible based on a description of that book. So it's not that one.
Okay.
But I think that would make a really good adaptation already, even though she's only written one book. So if you're listening, please write the other two books. But I think the one I've ultimately gone for on my list is one that I'm almost certain you won't have heard of. It's
Good.
a Belgian comic called
No,
Suske
not
and
heard of it.
Wiske, which I think the English translation for that is something called Spike and Susie. Now, it's not really fantasy or sci-fi, but it's got some slight fantasy elements. It's just,
Okay.
I loved it so much when I grew up, that I thought, yeah, I'd like to see an adaptation of that. And it's got maybe enough slightly surreal things in it that it might count here.
Okay. I don't think that's making the final 5. I'm just going to put that out there.
Well, what if Jeff gives us 5 million? Million? What am I talking about?
Actually,
Billion?
if Jeff gives us 5 million, then we can make like one anime scene.
It's true. It's horrifically expensive, isn't it?
It's unbelievably expensive. Well, it's a good list. It's a good list. So we asked for a list of 5, and you've given us 8,
7 or 8.
maybe 9, 8. You've given us 8. That's good. So there's some overlap between our lists. So I also have Dresden and Eisenhorn, and I also have in my honourable mentions The Old Kingdom by Garth Nix.
Ooh, an honourable mention.
I know, and I think it's in the wrong place. So I would like to see some Sanderson, specifically Mistborn, and I think you could do that fairly well, either Era 1 or Era 2, or indeed both. I'd like
Stop trying to get me to play the Lord Ruler and things. I'm not that bad.
I wasn't even remotely where I was going with that, but okay, if you want to go there. I'd very much like to see someone tackle Discworld. Again, so obviously it's been done, and some of it's very good, but I don't know. There's something about, I think it was the BBC that made the sort of 3 or 4 standalone sort of feature-length TV episodes. And there's just something about it that doesn't quite land for me. So I'd like to see someone take a run at Discworld. And by someone, I mean me.
And then, oh, good. Yes, because the BBC are amateurs compared to you, of course.
It's true. It's true. But then in this sort of last spot space, I've got a lot of options floating around. So I've not actually settled on one for my 5th. So as I said, I've got The Old Kingdom by Garth Nix. I've got The Royal Assassin trilogy by Robin Hobb. I've got The Inheritance cycle by Christopher Paolini. I've slightly dangerously written Harry Potter down here.
Oh dear. Well, we are cancelled after a quarter of an episode of season 2. Thank you.
Which was brave of me. And then finally, I've also got the Sword of Truth series by Terry Goodkind. And I only really have that because someone's already done it and it's so bad. I just want to talk about it rather than thinking that actually it's a TV series that needs adaptation. But I mean, someone already gave someone money to make some of the worst TV I've ever seen.
It's also true of Dresden, but we can come on to that.
It is also true of Dresden. That's true. So that's my list.
Well, so of those, what would you be willing to maybe make a case for?
What would I be willing to make?
It's going to be the Old Kingdom because that's what I'm going to make a case for.
It's going to be the Old Kingdom. I'm gonna say the Inheritance cycle. I think I'm gonna settle on that.
See, that's interesting because that's not one I'm familiar with at all.
I could do it now if you want. I don't know where you want to start. We've got some overlap. We could tick off the overlap quickly.
Well, so obviously Dresden, Eisenhorn are in there.
Dresden and Eisenhorn, and some Sanderson of some denomination. Although it's on your honourable mentions.
Yeah, I was also thinking Mistborn's probably
I think Mistborn is the best place to start, unless you wanted to do like a standalone Elantris or Warbreaker film, neither of which I think really has that much legs.
Yeah.
Elantris, maybe you could do something interesting with like visual style.
Possibly.
But no, I think if you want to do TV, I think you could do an Era 1 Mistborn, almost in the sort of Peaky Blinders style.
Peaky Blinders style? That's
yeah. Obviously, because the crew is the sort of criminal gang.
Yeah, I can kind of see that, actually.
Essentially, and the sort of industrial aesthetic might work, I think. I quite like that idea.
Yeah, I think the issue genuinely would be the Lord Ruler and how you convey that level of just malevolence, I guess.
You do it through cinematography. Basically, you change the film grain when he's around. There's all sorts of clever techniques you could use. You shoot him using weird angles. Just make him really unsettling to be on screen.
And really screechy, like discordant music, and that's
exactly. I'm trying to think.
People will definitely want to watch that.
Well, yes and no. I think you could do it in such a way that people get the message that this is a really unsettling person to be around without actually giving people migraines.
That's very true. It's just dawned on me. We've actually done an episode on something that should have been adapted, and neither of us has mentioned it. I guess it's because I mean, Rings of Power is the thing, but it's demonstrably second age.
That's the thing. I also don't think I'm brave enough to tackle it.
We already cast, like 1% of the characters.
You didn't.
I did. I'm just saying that Lee Pace should play all of them.
I'll have Lee Pace for everything. Thank you very much. Luthien, yeah, Lee Pace.
No, Luthien, I cast someone else. I can't remember who it was at this point. Samantha Box?
I think that might have been where we settled. I don't think
because I
think
I went Kate Beckinsale first, and you were very angry with me.
I was very angry. I accused you of some quite unpleasant things. I think we did land on Sam Barks, actually. I
can't remember who you said, but it was equally not right.
I was pretty rubbish.
You just can't cast Luthien. I'm sorry. It just can't be done. But yeah, it's weird that we both sort of omitted that one from this particular list. I think it's already in the works.
Because it's already in the works, because Amazon is having a right go at it as well. It might not end up perfect, but you get the sense that Amazon is going to throw lots and lots and lots of money at this to make it work.
And if nothing else, we're going to have just great shots of New Zealand and fake Elven and Numenorian architecture, which I'm here for.
Actually is all that I'm ever after.
Which is what I'm here for. Now, one that we have both...
Jodie Comer was who I cast as Lucy.
Oh, yeah, you did cast Jodie Comer. Yeah.
Sorry, it was really bugging me. I couldn't remember that.
Absolutely dreadful. Lee Pace would have been the better choice.
Lee Pace.
Lee, if you're listening, I really, big hero of mine. But Eisenhorn.
Eisenhorn, I think, because that is meant to be in the works.
Yeah, is it confirmed Eisenhorn? I mean, we know that it's...
No, so I have been hearing rumblings for a long time that there isn't an Eisenhorn show in the works. Then recently, obviously, Henry Cavill appears to have purchased the rights to make Warhammer 40k films and TV sort of on his own.
It does seem like that's what he's done, yes.
I think
Do you think he'd go Eisenhorn and not some Custodes thing?
I think that if he's well advised by literally anyone, he wouldn't do Custodes or Marines first. I think you have to do Inquisition.
You have to go human, don't you?
You have to go human. You have to go.
Custodes are regular humans, sort of, just somehow really supercharged in some weird way.
They're even more genetically enhanced.
Do they have the implants that the Space Marines?
No, they're taken apart and rebuilt on a molecular level.
40k science logic.
Yeah.
Okay.
They start as baseline humans in the same way that Astartes do, but they don't have the sort of implants that Astartes have. They are rebuilt from the ground up, basically.
Can you imagine how easy a time Eisen would have had if he just had a Custodes alongside him at all times?
Just one.
That's all you need, yeah.
That's all you need for any problem.
Oh, there's a demon on loose. No, not anymore. Oh,
No,
well,
you're
okay.
all right. Don't worry
That was
about
a
it.
fun story.
How do we deal with this demon host? Rip. What demon host?
Oh no, a Chaos Titan. Oh, you can't say that, can you?
That one
A
might
corrupted
be bad.
Titan.
The corrupted Titan might have been an issue.
I mean, if Sanguinius can do it, then a Custodes can probably do it.
I don't
think
think
Sanguinius could fly, which helped.
Does make a big difference, and also has serious main character syndrome.
Yes, the plot armor is just of legendary.
He's got literal plot armor in that he knows he has plot armor.
But it's weird with him because he's got plot armor because he has to die in a very specific scene mere moments later.
Yes, for anyone who doesn't have a feckin' clue what we're talking about, one of the Primarchs.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast. You're in good company. But one of the Primarchs in the Horus Heresy series, Warhammer 30k, has a vision of his own death, essentially. So then spends the next 30 books going, I do not die today, and then just doing stupid shit. Like flying face first into a 50-meter high war robot and winning.
Do you think what it was is that the first person who wrote, that sort of scene was like, I've really screwed every other author over now because I've given him canonical plot armor.
He's had that plot armor since like before the Horus Heresy books were ever written.
But that's what I mean. It's essentially in a codex, wasn't it?
It was before even that. It's in like the original White Dwarf.
My word. Okay, wow. Someone was really destined to give him.
No, because so if you go way, way, way back, Horus wasn't anyone special. He was just the Emperor's foremost general.
Well, that's all he is now, anyway.
No, but like he's just a bloke.
Yeah.
And he's just in his bunker on Terra, and it's like a really small-scale skirmish. He's not like a genetically enhanced soldier or anything like this. He's literally just a human bloke.
Well, that's power creep personified, isn't it? Right? Yeah. Two normal blokes having a fight, just not good enough.
Just having a bit of a dust up. But yeah, so Sanguinius' death is like from back then, basically. And it just, so it's been baked into the setting for like, 40 years?
Yeah, that's pretty strong.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously, okay, yes.
sorry. To bring this all the way back to our top 5
word, we're
series.
doing such a good job at being professional podcasters, aren't we? We're so good. Yeah, Eisenhorn. In the works, potentially. I'm looking forward to it if it is.
So I've heard.
Do you think Cavill would play Eisenhorn?
I think he would. I think that's the way you do it.
He's a pretty burly chap, isn't he?
He's a big lad. Eisenhorn is a big lad. And I think that it's a good entry point to Warhammer 40k as well, because at the end of the day, everyone is sort of just a person.
That is absolutely right. That's why I think it's a great series that needs adaptation.
And it's very wide-ranging. You do get Space Marines, you do get Guard, you do get demons, you get aliens, you get various Imperial factions. So you get a lot of breadth, but you also go very, very deep into a couple of them. So I think, like, if you want to build a 40k cinematic universe, you've got to jump in with something like that. The other thing that I think might work for 40k, although I would rather see Eisenhorn, is a sort of Band of Brothers style Imperial Guard.
Yeah, that just doesn't really work, I think.
I don't see how you convey the power level properly if you do that.
Exactly, because the Band of Brothers Guard just dies in the first 5 seconds of any conflict,
Yeah, well, I mean, Gaunt's Ghosts make it through. So you do a Band of Brothers style Gaunt's Ghosts.
Okay.
I guess.
okay, perhaps. The issue with going for a guard-based thing is that is going to be a very gory TV show, regardless of.
It's going to be gory, and you also don't get the, I don't know what the word is, like the top-down view that an Inquisitor gives you.
Yes.
Because an Inquisitor's jumping from planet to planet, they're interacting with all sorts of like high-ranking people.
And that's the really cool thing about all that, is you get kind of a sense of how the Imperium works, or rather doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I think it highlights the power levels really quite clearly, because like one Chaos Space Marine shows up and it's a massive issue for everyone involved.
Yeah.
Which I think gives you a real sense of, as you say, sort of scale and power levels.
And Cavill playing Eisenhorn still gives him the opportunity to dress up in power armor and shout for the Emperor, which I think is sort of all he wants to do, like as a human being.
Maybe. Alternatively, and hear me out on this, Henry Cavill plays all the Space Marines.
Whatever.
Ever, yeah.
Just in any...
Look, my casting strategy is very one-dimensional. Just cast one actor in multiple roles.
So hear me out. Right. Henry Cavill is doing a Horus Heresy series in which Henry Cavill plays Horus and all of the sons of Horus.
Yeah, but we've cast Horus already.
It's true. Horus does have to be Mark Strong.
It has to be Mark Strong. It just cannot be any other way. And the problem is, aside from that, you would cast Cavill as the Emperor himself.
I wouldn't. I'd cast someone of Anatolian descent as the Emperor, just to really piss off.
Yeah, if you want to be realistic. Okay,
yeah,
fine. If you want a realistic 30k series,
that's the best thing. It's both realistic and it's going to really, really piss off a load of people on the internet.
No, it would be good, actually.
Yeah, how good. Right, so I think what we're learning here is we both want some sort of 40k show. Potentially Eisenhorn. I think we both think Eisenhorn is probably the best way to do it, but you could make an argument for a load of other options. I think some Cyphers Kane stuff would be good, but you almost have to have the setting established so that you can start to poke fun at it, which is what Kane does.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people on Reddit suggesting that they should open with Kane. I just don't think it works because people don't understand the ridiculous of the setting.
No, but I think that's a flaw of the sort of fandom in general, isn't it? It's kind of a mechanism of gatekeeping. It's like, if you don't get this really niche joke / content, then you're not worthy.
Yeah,
which is a real barrier to actually, getting people involved in learning about 40k.
Do we want to talk about Dresden?
Do we want to talk about Dresden? I mean, we have to. We have to.
Do we have to talk about the fact that there is a pre-existing Dresden TV show that is
I really don't think we do.
It's out there. People can go and experience it if they want, but it's not very good.
It really, really isn't. I don't think I made it past the first 15 minutes of episode 1.
I guess the question that I have is, how do you pace it?
How do you pace it? Well, you can pace it the exact same way the books pace it, really.
So one series per book? Because you're never, Supernatural notwithstanding, you're never going to get a 25 series TV show or however many books.
No, but you can condense some of the earlier events into a series.
So
because if you're going to, if we're talking TV show, serializing it, it's essentially a more detective.
And you could put some of the short stories in.
Exactly, you put some of the short stories in, and you just episodically build up Dresden as the character. And given that the original stuff isn't really all that great anyway, in the first season, the overarching storyline in your serialized, fantasy whodunit is essentially Bianca.
Yeah, that's where I was
season
heading.
2 is the start of the war.
Yes,
and you pack the big story arcs in.
So you almost finished season 2 with Ortega.
yeah, even then it's gonna be a lot of series. But that's what the billions are for.
That's fine. It's fine to have 7 or 8 series, or 9 or 10 or 12, but
The issue is the special effects budget has got to go up exponentially in this show.
It's
because it goes more ridiculous.
This is the thing, right? You almost need to do a Game of Thrones. So you start and you have a very small budget, and actually you don't need that much special effects for Stormfront. Really, Harry does very little magic.
He does very little magic, but it's just that's what I mean. That's not a story. That's not a series. That's like an episode.
No, you get a couple of episodes out of Stormfront.
Sure, but I think you gotta package it up.
Oh, that's true.
What even happens in Stormfront? We meet Harry. We meet
Victor Salles.
We meet Tutu, which is obviously key.
Yeah,
and we meet Murph and Marcone.
It's the Shadow Man. It's Victor Salles.
Yeah, but yeah. As like an early big bad, I guess he's quite interesting. Which is then wrapped in with the sort of Bianca big bad, and then ultimately everything turns into Black Council big bad, which still exists today. So, yeah, I think one of the key issues with Dresden is the fact that he's 6'9".
I just don't think that matters. Like, you cast.
I tell you who you cast. It's really random. I've been rewatching Lost. Because I randomly saw that it was on Disney Plus. I was like, Lost. Interesting. So I watched it, and the guy who plays Sawyer, a guy called Josh Holloway. I just saw his face, and I was like, if that's not Harry Dresden, I don't know who is. Because he's got that sort of jackass demeanor, and he's got that kind of look that I've associated with Dresden. I think he's maybe a bit old now.
Josh Holloway.
But then Dresden's how old is Dresden in Stormfront? He's like 30?
It's really unclear. It's really, really unclear how old he actually is.
I think in Battleground he's maybe his 40s.
Is he 40? He must be, because he complains like getting old.
Yeah, and he refers to people like Carlos as
kid.
Like, yeah, youngster and kid, which is weird considering that the actual older people in the wizard community are like hundreds of years older than Harry.
It's all relative though, right?
Yeah, it's always funny when he starts dissing people about how young they are, and then he turns around and talks to a literal force of nature that's existed for millennia. It's very odd. Yeah, but Dresden, I think it's one that we obviously want to see. We want to see it done well, and I think it can be done quite well. It would work very well as a TV show, which is why they got the money at one point.
It's episodic in nature. It's just, you just have to make it well. Right, it's been done. Supernatural detective stories have been done. They work if you put the time in. Supernatural, yeah. Buffy, all of these shows work if you do them properly.
Yeah, you just have to tone down Dresden's rampant sexism.
You do.
Align it a little bit more with modern times.
He just needs to use the word dame a lot, I think, and you get a similar aesthetic.
Yeah.
Without it being quite so bad.
Yeah. I mean, there is one day an episode coming on Jim Butcher, and maybe not just him, but
the authorial voice.
Yeah, that just needs some updating.
Right.
So Dresden, I think is a no-brainer. So Dresden and Eisenhorn, no-brainers. Go on our combined list. So that's 2 out of 5.
Do you want to make the case for the Old Kingdom?
Old Kingdom. Yes. Fantastic series.
It is.
One of the most elegant and enjoyable magic systems that I've come across. That's just explained so effortlessly.
So this is the Bells,
wild magic. Yeah, using the Bells and the free magic versus the charter magic.
Not wild magic, free magic, exactly.
and it forms such a fundamental part of the identity of the world, especially the Old Kingdom itself, and it really contrasts it so strongly with, Ancelsia, the sort of nearest country to the Old Kingdom, which is completely devoid of magic, and it's just a modern-ish nation, with the military using guns and artillery and so on.
The time period is really hard to work out, isn't it? I mean, it could just be, 1950s, which I think is probably where it's pitched.
Yeah, to me, it's anywhere between sort of the early 1900s and modern day, but obviously can't be modern day because Garth Nix wrote them some time ago. But
in the 90s, I think maybe sort of First World War era.
That's sort of the aesthetic that I've always got in my head. Yeah, when they get their rifles out and stuff.
Yeah, they're using sort of bolt action rifles rather than,
Yeah, but equally, the issue with that is that we only ever really see soldiery near the wall, right? Where, fine, they don't really officially acknowledge that there's such a thing as magic, but I think the people who are stationed there kind of do.
Yeah, you're meant to get that they're not allowed to officially call it magic, but they get that the wall is weird as fuck.
Yeah, so the bolt action rifles, plus also they have machine guns and stuff. So maybe it's more 40s, 50s. Maybe you're right. Yeah,
they had machine guns in the First World War.
Yeah, but not that. They always felt like they were quite easily maneuver. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a war expert. I don't really know what I'm talking about.
Time. But anyway, you're right that the juxtaposition is very good because the Old Kingdom is so obviously basically high medieval.
Yes.
By contrast, so I think you can do that juxtaposition very well on screen, especially as you sort of start in the sort of modern day. It's quite Narnia-esque in that sense. You sort of start modern day and then fall backwards through time as you cross the wall.
Yeah, but I sort of get what you mean by that, but it's not really time, is it? It's so different. It's
technology.
Time it's a bit like the whole
technology.
Hogwarts conundrum, isn't it?
Yes.
But
I just don't know if there's enough content there.
Yeah, this is why I think this is just literally 3 films for 3 books.
You could do 3 films. You could just do 3 films, 3 books. That's true.
I actually recently saw that there was, maybe saying that there's talk of is a bit much, but there was a suggestion that somebody should do an animated film series of the Old Kingdom. I think that might be the answer here, actually.
I could see that working, yes. Sort of Avatar The Last Airbender style animation.
Yeah, this is what I'm not sure about. I think so.
I could see that working. I mean, it wouldn't be for me, generally speaking, because I don't like anime as a visual style, but I could see that working.
Kind of my issue as well. I think there has to be an intermediate. Like an old school Disney aesthetic.
Disney could also
like proper
work.
Drawn, like animation, but
like an Aladdin or a Beauty and the Beast.
Exactly. But then sort of just.
I wouldn't want modern Disney. Sort of modern Disney animation style wouldn't work.
No, I don't think it would it?
Because it's all too comedic, I guess. Like the animation style almost lends itself to comedy.
I've never really thought of that, but I think you might be right, actually.
It's all exaggerated shapes and exaggerated faces and builds and all of that, which it is in old school Disney as well, but it's less obvious, I think. It's all caricature.
Yeah, in a way, yeah, you're right, yeah. Yeah, but I think an all drawn sort of feel like that would be really solid. And that's what I think. It's just 3 films for the first 3 books.
Japanese style animation might be the way to do that. Yeah, I quite like that. Mike, you've convinced me to think about putting it on the list.
Okay.
So that's 3.
Well, My Belgian Comic was obviously out because
I'm afraid
you're a
that's
heathen.
out. I'm afraid that's out because I haven't seen it, and I think Project Hail Mary might be in a similar. Well, it's not out. It's just going to take a lot more convincing.
Project Hail Mary, it's good. If you haven't read the book, read the book.
It's
It's
all.
good.
I'm putting it on my list to read.
It's really. I don't know if you ever read The Martian, but it's
I
that
read
exact style, which you maybe have to like.
I read a
but
sample of The Martian and then didn't read it for reasons that I've never fully understood because I liked the sample. It might be because I saw the film first, so I'm sort of like, oh, I've done that, which is heathenish of me, I know.
you know what? I can let you off the hook for The Martian because it was a very good film adaptation. Like it still told the story with, I think, correct adaptations and omissions.
Yeah, and I think that's always going to need to be a consideration. Is what are you putting in? What are you taking out? What are you leaving?
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I would make a case, but obviously you've not done your homework for this episode.
Which is really bad because I got your list about 4 days ago.
You could have easily read this book and decided that, yes, we need a film. So I guess we park that. Remind me, what else did you have?
Discworld.
Discworld. Pratchett.
It's going to be hard to do. It's going to be
think that's the issue, isn't it?
really hard to do. I don't really know how you do it better than the BBC, but there's something about the BBC adaptation that just doesn't sit right with me, and I don't know what it is.
Tell you what, this weirdly reminded me, and I'm going to derail you here, but up until I feel relatively recently, a good shout would have been his Dark Materials, right?
Yeah, I know. I had exactly the same thought.
But I think the BBC did quite a good job with that, ultimately.
I've fallen right off it, though. The BBC adaptation. I've fallen right off it. I haven't watched any of the new series.
Do we think we can do it better? I don't think we can.
No, I don't think I could. I think the issue there is, yeah, it's a really, really hard series to adapt for TV because it's not intended for TV.
There's a reason where books are superior in many ways, right?
It's intended to be read and thought about and digested. And yes, the BBC did it far better than the Nicole Kidman film,
which I still refuse to watch.
I mean, you can't adapt his Dark Materials and take out all of the God stuff. You just can't, because you've taken out all of the plot and all of the themes.
Yeah, exactly.
Philip Pullman himself called it something like the Atheist's Manifesto.
I mean, because it is, and that's the whole point. I think the BBC did do that very well, ultimately.
They did, and they made it very clear that the Magisterium is not the Catholic Church, which I think is the way you fix it.
I'd never really thought about that.
I mean, the Magisterium just is the Catholic Church.
Exactly. But that is just how you sort of fix it.
But the BBC made it very clear that the Magisterium is a religious body that worships a deity similar to the Almighty, but it is not the Catholic Church. But yeah, anyway, that's by the by.
Yeah, I think they did a good job. Discworld. Discworld. There's so much going on.
It's so big,
and the flat earthers will really love it.
Oh, the flat earther. The intro. The problem with Discworld is the intro almost writes itself. They're like the credits, the opening credits, almost writes itself.
What a fun TV show that'll be.
But because you sort of fly in past the turtle and the 4 elephants, and then up and over the counterweight continent and across the sea to Ankh-Morpork. So my hand was doing a whole thing there, which is great in an audio-only medium.
Weirdly, I kind of pictured that. But,
but I don't know. I think I want someone to try and do a sort of either a Moist von Lipvik or a Sam Vimes series. But it would be so hard. It would be so difficult. And I think for that reason, it sort of can't go on our list.
There's a lot of it, no?
There's a lot of it, but it breaks down really neatly. into series. So you've got the Rincewind stuff, you've got the Sam Vimes stuff, you've got the Witches stuff. So you just pick some stuff that you pick like a coherent series within, and they touch each other as you sort of navigate your way through. But it's an absolute fool's errand to try and read all of Discworld all at once, because it just doesn't make sense to. It wasn't written in that way.
So you think this is like a TV show project as well?
I think it's a cinematic universe, but I think it's a cinematic...
Oh, you're going for the big bucks, okay.
I think it's a cinematic universe of TV shows.
Sean's coming out swinging.
I've gone completely mad. No, I think that's the way that it would need to be done, as a cinematic universe of TV shows. I just don't know if it's possible. And I don't know that anyone's brave enough to try. And also, there are some proper Pratchett fans out there.
This is the...
and Terry Pratchett is no longer there, no longer around to say, nah, this is fine, guys.
Yeah, so, and then you run into a Rings of Power situation.
I don't think I'm brave enough. I would love someone else to be brave enough.
Okay, well that complicates things. So far we've maybe agreed on 3. If you've agreed to the Old Kingdom,
I think I will currently agree to an animated Old Kingdom.
Then I think the only other one we overlapped was Mistborn.
Yeah.
Which of course opens the door to the whole Cosmere cinematic universe.
It opens the door to try and do the Cosmere cinematic universe if you want to. But also Mistborn, at least Era 1, is entirely self-contained.
The issue there is that I'm sure
Except
Sanderson is probably already doing some sort of fundraiser or Kickstarter and has probably got 3 films already made.
He's actually written
with like
6
a script
screenplays while we've been talking.
He's just written 1,000,000 words of screenplay for this.
I think he is in talks. He's been in talks for a long time. He's really, really reluctant to give up the creative control, which is understandable. I don't know specifically.
Absolutely, but surely he doesn't have time to actually exert creative control.
Well, I think this is the real problem. I think the people who want it are basically going, Brandon, you've got to let us, because you did you did a Kickstarter for $4, sort of outside your writing schedule. You have a problem. Let us help you. Did you hear about this? His Year of Sanderson Kickstarter.
Yes. Yeah.
He accidentally wrote 4 full-length novels,
and then got gigantic amounts of money to actually
infinite money. But they were already written. Also, guys, that's how you do a Kickstarter.
Also, guys, that's how you really piss off every publisher on earth. I mean, fair play to him. It's like the pinnacle of self-publishing, isn't it?
His announcement video for that Kickstarter was really, really funny, because its title and description were just, it's an apology because I've got some confessions and people aren't going to get what they're expecting next year and I need to apologize. And then he just puts like 4 finished manuscripts on his desk on top of each other.
He's such a badass, isn't he?
He's such a prick. He's such
the fact that he, in the midst of writing his like own gigantic interconnected universe of books that are all
which
long.
Includes the Stormlight Archive, which on its own would be, for any other writer, an absolute magnum opus on the scale of Wheel of Time or The Lord of the Rings.
And Wheel of Time is exactly it. He just casually swanned in and finished.
Oh, he also just finished Wheel of Time.
It's like, no worries, guys. I've got some spare time on Sunday afternoon.
I'll finish Wheel of Time for you. Oh, 1 book? No. Don't worry. I'll do you 4. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
So I mean, it's a no-brainer in terms of funding, because you'll never run out of source material. You don't get the A Song of Ice and Fire issue.
No, I think the issue is the world will end before Brandon Sanderson stops writing.
Yeah, but we're pretty trustworthy, lads. I think if we say, Brandon, listen, we'll do this for you. We'll start with Mistborn.
Let us prove to you that we can do it with Mistborn.
And then we'll be the D&D to his George R.R.R. Martin.
Except better.
Except
both us and
obviously
him.
better, yes.
I like this plan. I like this plan a lot. And as I said, I think you do Mistborn by doing Peaky Blinders.
Yes, that is actually something that's really sold this to me as a list worthy element, because I think you really can do that.
We might need to talk to Guy Ritchie. I know Guy Ritchie didn't do Peaky Blinders, but I'm thinking
he is Peaky Blinders.
Oh, did he? Oops.
No. I don't think he did it, but I'm just saying he is Peaky Blinders personified.
Yeah, well, that's my point. I think we might just need to do some. I don't think we need him to direct or write anything, but just as a sort of creative consultant.
I think so. Plus, it'd just be really quite fun to hang out
with Guy, and also he gives you some kudos.
Yes.
Not that Amazon need kudos, but I think we might.
We could use it.
We could use the odd name or two.
No, so Peaky Blinders style Mistborn to kick off.
Peaky Blinders style Era 1
universe.
Mistborn to kick off the Cosmere.
The issue is, right, it's again sort of starts off as a trilogy because it's Sanderson, he can't help himself. But they're very long books.
Mistborn?
You're probably talking at least 9 films.
No, you do series. You do TV series.
But what's the runtime of one of those episodes then?
Standard Amazon Prime, 50 minutes. Not for, and I'm not suggesting that you do 3 episodes of TV to do the entirety of Mistborn. You do.
Yeah, so you're saying a full-on American 20 plus episodes, 40 plus minutes.
No. Amazon Prime style. I think 9 to 12 episodes. 9 to 12 episodes, 3 seasons to do Mistborn. Era 1, maybe 4.
Okay.
I think you could do that.
Okay, yeah. I don't hate it. I actually kind of like it.
The end of your first episode is Kelsier sort of joining meeting Vin. So your entire first episode is a Guy Ritchie paced and shot heist in the canton of Orthodoxy, or whichever one it is. So that whole opening chapter with Vin talking to the obligator and the sort of the attempt to steal from him, that just writes itself as a sort of Peaky Blinders Guy Ritchie style.
Yeah, I'm sold.
Episode. Let's do it. That's your pilot.
Let's do it.
Oh, I'm getting chills. I think we could do that.
All right, Mistborn done.
Mistborn done. Sold. That
is
4.
Where was it? Dresden,
Eisenhorn,
Old Kingdom,
Mistborn. Right.
So Discworld was a solid maybe.
Discworld's a solid maybe.
I think it's too big.
I think it's too big to do it properly. I understand why the BBC did it the way they did. Even if I don't think it quite lands. There's a few on my list I think I can tick off as definitely nots. Specifically The Sword of Truth, because actually that's just bad literature.
Yes.
That's my favourite. You can tell.
I like that you included it in a very exclusive list of things that you absolutely wanted adapted. A misguided attempt to make it good?
The thing is, I think if you ignore the rampant libertarianism that runs through the books like a stick of rock, it's quite good fantasy. Like, it's boy meets girl, girl turns out to be secret magic person from across the border, takes boy on adventure. Turns out boy is also actually someone secret and special, and then they have adventures. And it turns out Boy's old man friend is a wizard.
Of course, yes.
But like it works. At that sort of high level it works. But the problem is, at some point quite early on, Terry Goodkind just read Atlas Shrugged and went, yes.
Yes, more of that, please.
Get all of this.
Yeah, I'm not sold. I'm not going to lie.
It's quite good. I like it. And the thing is, someone gave someone money to make a bad TV adaptation of it. The Legend of the Sea Skirt was like the equivalent of a straight to DVD.
But lots of people get money to do this sort of shit all the time. It doesn't really say anything, unfortunately.
But I want money to do this sort of shit.
Yeah, but you're going to go in way over budget straight off, and then
oh yeah, obviously,
because you're going to say like, we're going to make this good, and they're like, no, you're not.
No, don't do that.
They're like, we're going to give you money to make
watch anything. Nerds will watch anything.
Exactly, as long as it makes a profit.
Sam Raimi produced a load of the Legend of the Seeker stuff. He didn't direct it; he produced it.
Okay, interesting. He was clearly a fan.
He also produced like Xena and Hercules: Legendary Journeys. I think he just likes shit. Fantasy TV.
Whoa.
You heard me.
Whoa. That is some fighting talk there. I think that might well be tinfoil worthy.
No, it's not that one. Shut up. It's not that bad.
We're going to have to consider that one. We're going to have to throw that one out to the fans. Comment now.
Absolutely
is
not.
Dissing Xena and Hercules tinfoil worthy? I certainly think it is.
I'm not having that.
What you're having, it really doesn't matter.
I think our contentious one.
Let me just briefly touch on one that you mentioned that I thought was quite interesting. Harry Potter.
I was going to say, I think that might be our contentious one.
Because I think only today or yesterday I saw that someone came out and said they want to make Harry Potter from scratch. I think it was Warner Brothers themselves, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, but that's just because Warner Brothers want more money.
Well, yeah, of course. But this is our time. We can get in there.
I think I could do it. Like, obviously I couldn't because I have no filmmaking experience whatsoever.
And the problem is that, because you might know that Hogwarts Legacy game is coming out very soon, and that already has set the world aflame.
Oh, I know. We're very split on whether or not we're allowed to play Hogwarts Legacy.
Well, we are and we secretly aren't, but that's a debate for another time.
We're going to have I think when Hogwarts Legacy launches, we could have that debate.
I think we should have that debate. The freedom of academic speech and discourse is what I'm calling that.
What, playing Hogwarts Legacy?
Yes. In a nutshell, but just more eloquent. Because,
I think I just don't want to pay like 80 quid for an open world Hogwarts game.
Oh, I absolutely do. Maybe not 80 quid. I think 80 quid's a little bit ridiculous.
I saw a really good debate on whether or not the game should allow you to cast the unforgivable curses. And I'm like, absolutely not.
I mean, they very much do allow you to do that, so...
Does it?
Of course.
But
you can make a Harry Potter game where you can't cast the unforgivable curses.
But you're a kid. Like,
it's literally like the
Barty Crouch Jr.
There's like one spell that so far I've seen that you can use that's like a one-hit KO on anything, and it's obviously Avada Kedavra.
No, it's obviously not.
Of course it is.
Stupefy.
No, that just makes numbers pop out of your head.
I'm so confused. Why would you let, like, someone playing a school kid cast unforgivable curses?
Because it's probably up there with the most cast spells in the Harry Potter book series.
No, the most cast spell in the Harry Potter book series has to be the Patronus Charm. Because Harry's
successfully cast, or
Harry's spaffing that all over the pages.
No, I think they used
to
Stupefy a lot.
That
really was, yeah. Spaffs out the silvery wisp.
Yeah, exactly. I'd like to apologise to everyone for that.
Okay, that might be another one for the tinfoil bucket.
Piss off. No, I think that Actually, I was re-listening to our What Makes a Good Adaptation episode in preparation for this, and we touch on Harry Potter. And I think the reason it's on my list is something we said in that episode, which is that after the third film, it just goes completely off the rails and thus becomes really shit.
Yes.
And so
The issue is that there are some very good performances in the Harry Potter films.
Yeah, we'd have to
A lot of those actors are still around, and I feel it'd be...
There's absolutely no way we can get Maggie Smith again.
Probably more age appropriate for McGonagall now.
Poor woman's like 95.
Yeah.
McGonagall's not that old. Is she?
Even the Dumbledore's like 150 or something, and he's known McGonagall.
I think he's like 120. Let's calm down.
Yeah, but McGonagall is already around in the time of Newt Scamander. Like, she's already a professor at Hogwarts. As is Dumbledore.
Sure.
So if he's 120, she's maybe, I don't know, 90? Which is age appropriate for Maggie Smith, as I say.
I'm really not comfortable with putting poor Maggie Smith through that again. But also, there's literally no one else you could cast.
The problem is Snape, right? You just can't ever. Certainly not in our lifetime. You can't replace him.
I think you can actually. You cast an age-appropriate Adam Driver.
Oh, fuck you! I hate that. I love that.
That was far too loud. But I'm very proud of that. Because I knew you were going to say that you can't cast Snape again, and I've spent a long time trying to work out who you cast, and I think it might just be his hairstyle. You really just
snookered me there. Oh, Adam Driver's so good.
Because you also absolutely buy Adam Driver as like carrying this candle for this woman that never loved him, and twisted him and turned him into this horrible person.
But you have to turn him from Ben Swallow into, average mate.
You just lock it. Have you seen him in Black Klansman?
No.
He's not quite as Ben Swallow in that. He's still quite swole, to be fair. I think he's just quite a big dude.
To be fair, you can just make him wear robes and that.
Yeah, just make him wear robes and not shower for a week.
Literally, if there's one thing we would fix if we do a re-adaptation of Harry Potter, it's just make them actually wear robes.
You've got to wear robes all the time, guys. Sorry.
Why do wizards just look like slightly colourfully dressed muggles? It's just,
You've all got to dress like Alan Rickman and Michael Gambon. I'm sorry. That's just the rules.
Absolutely. We can definitely de-Gambon Dumbledore there.
You do de-Gambon. Who do you cast as Dumbledore? I mean, we've been going for like an hour and we've not settled. But
if Jude Law were 120, I think he'd actually work really quite well.
Who does Jude Law grow up to be? Because Jude Law is a really good Dumbledore. He's like the only thing that's good. Well, him and Mads Mikkelsen are like the only thing that's good about those films. And Mads Mikkelsen's only been in one of them and probably won't be in the next one.
I think he's being replaced, isn't he?
I've heard he's being replaced, and it makes me so angry.
Yeah, same, because he was
the only.
Actually, the third one I actually didn't hate.
I didn't hate the first one until the very end.
That's the thing.
I hated the second one because it's got
work.
So much Johnny Depp in it.
Yeah.
And I didn't hate I did hate the third one because it makes no sense, but Mads Mikkelsen saves it. I also buy just a romantic relationship between Jude Law and Mads Mikkelsen.
Absolutely, yeah. That makes it so believable. But we shan't go into the whole let's decide all of wizard politics by using some fabled creature in.
I don't understand what position they're picking.
Yeah, that's just
King of Wizarddom.
I think it's the Supreme Mugwump.
Oh, is it?
No, because that's the Wizengamot, isn't it?
Is it Chief?
It's like the International Federation of something or other.
It's whichever thing Dumbledore ends up on sitting on.
Yeah.
Chief Warlock of the International Statute of Secrecy or something.
Regardless of all that, we can't possibly say that in our top 5 things that need adaptations, we're going to say Harry Potter.
No, I don't think we can. I think I might say The Inheritance Cycle. Again, because the Aragon film is so bad.
Oh, that's that series, is it?
Yeah. Sorry, it's Aragon.
Oh, yeah, they were pretty shit.
They only made that one film.
Yeah. Did they? I thought it was the second one.
No, they didn't make Eldest. Unless it was a straight to DVD sequel in an era of streaming, which would be excellent.
Hang on.
Are you checking this?
Yes.
Please don't fact check me. You know I don't like it.
No, you're right. There's only one film.
No, it's bad. And it's a shame because
It is.
it's got, apart from anything else, it's got Jeremy Irons in it, which I quite like.
You know what? Then in that case...
Yeah? Am I just going to get this one?
That's the thing that's stopping me from doing it.
I think the problem is Christopher Paolini has never had an original idea in his life. And I think I'd be worried that Disney would come after us for copyright infringement because it's just Star Wars.
Yeah, but but there's nothing wrong with that.
No, because Star Wars is just
Let's be honest.
Fortress. And everything is just Beowulf, ultimately.
Even Beowulf, yeah.
But yeah, Beowulf is probably just something that we don't know. Actually, ultimately, everything is just the Chronicle of Ur.
You know what? Beowulf's not a bad shout to add to this list, actually. Unless you
just
still
had
rate
that
that
thought.
Angelina Jolie film.
I just had that. But the problem with the Angelina Jolie film is I don't know if it's animated or not. The cinematography is so weird.
Exactly. It's just a weird movie, isn't it?
Do you think we could do a good King Arthur series? Like an actually good King Arthur series?
Are you saying King Arthur series or the Arthur series isn't good? What's it called? Merlin, right?
Well, the problem is it's about Merlin.
Yeah, but he's the interesting character in the whole thing.
No, he's not.
Of course he is.
The interesting character in the whole thing is... Well, none of them, because there's no characters, but...
You were just going to say something really glorious, weren't you? You stopped yourself. I'm proud of you. This is growth, personal growth.
I successfully didn't say something stupid.
You know what we might have to do here is let the listeners decide what the fifth spot should be.
Okay.
Then
we haven't spoken about King Killer. Or
well,
Song of Ice and Fire.
I think you just can't do it because it's not finished.
It's not
and
finished.
I don't want to end up in another Song of Ice and Fire situation.
Which is, I think, why we can't do a Song of Ice and Fire.
Exactly.
Either.
Well, I think at this point we could end it better than George Martin can.
Well, I think you could almost... You take the story beats from season 8, you sort of assume that those are necessary, and then you go back and actually read The Song of Ice and Fire.
No.
And you work out how you get
rocks
from A
fall,
to
everyone
B.
dies.
Or that. You just meteor Westeros.
Exactly. Just
That would
second
be good.
doom of Valyria just happens everywhere.
Oh, that would be good. Actually, you get... Yeah, I like that.
And then everyone's just left with this sense of like, I guess the original show wasn't so bad after all.
We've actually redeemed season 8.
I think if we do a Song of Ice and Fire, we start off by casting Mark Addy, Sean Bean.
Oh yeah, no, they're just
all
coming back.
famous actors.
You're all just coming back, guys.
Especially like the ones who played the sort of younger ones. We get the same Joffrey and... don't mention the fact that he's clearly too old now.
Jack Gleason, I know you quit acting because everyone hates you because you played Joffrey.
But would you mind coming back
and play Joffrey again? Would I have everyone? I think I
King Killer,
would.
as much as I love it, it's really slow.
It's really slow. I don't see how you do the unreliable narrator bit clearly. Which
to an extent is an issue with Dresden as well, but because it's so much more episodic, I think that's an easy fix.
Dresden works because it's episodic. The unreliable narrator... The problem with King Killer is you need to make it so clear It's not the same as the Dresden problem. The Dresden problem is that you're always in Harry's head, so you never have perfect information and you miss things because Harry misses things. The Kingkiller problem is you're getting Kvothe's story from Kvothe's point of view after the fact.
Yes.
So he's spinning you a fiction. And I don't see how you make that clear. It's a really cool thing that the Kingkiller Chronicles does, but I don't see how you make that clear in TV or film.
I'm sure there's some interesting cinematographic tricks.
Or you do it really 90s style and every episode starts in the Waystone Inn and it's just some random old ginger bloke telling Chronicler a tale. And then you zoom into
that old, is he?
No, he's like 30. He's not even 30, he's like 25. But you every episode starts with you zooming into Chronicler's page. Like really 90s.
Yeah. The other issue I kind of have with Kingkiller is that Kvothe himself, and this is partly perhaps because of the way it's done, right, is just too obnoxiously good at everything.
But this is my unreliable narrator point.
Yeah.
He only is because he's telling us he is. I don't actually think that you're meant to believe that everything happens exactly the way he says it does, because he never gets anything wrong. But you're right, he would be insufferable.
So it can't be that. It can't be Song of Ice and Fire. Harry Potter. You need to just read Project Hail Mary and then you'll agree with me that that's the obvious choice.
Okay.
But I would suggest, yes, that we leave it to our listeners to decide what the fifth one should be, and then we will comment on why that is a terrible decision.
Yeah, I like that. So your options are Harry Potter, Eragon, so the Inheritance Cycle, or A Song of Ice and Fire?
Throw in Harry Potter into the mix as well, why not?
I thought I said Harry Potter.
Oh, did you? Sorry.
Yeah, I thought I said Harry Potter first. Yeah, but definitely Harry Potter's in that mix.
Yeah. Discworld, I suppose. Throw in.
Oh, yeah, also Discworld.
Or write in your own opinions.
That
way you can be really wrong.
If we haven't heard of it, it is immediately going to be laughed at.
Or we both try to bullshit our way through it.
Based on Wikipedia. Who am I kidding? We're not going
research.
to Wikipedia.
Come on now.
Based on the title.
Just whatever the sort of first hits on Google are without actually clicking on any links.
Yeah, that little Google summary that you get.
Exactly, yeah.
That's what I'll be doing.
Anyway, yeah, so to recap, we had Dresden.
Oh, can I throw another one in just at the very last minute? Gotrek and Felix.
That's quite good, actually. Okay. Fine.
We'll throw that as another option.
You know that's not going to win because no one ever knows anything about it.
Yeah, but I'm going to.
Plus, then someone's going to inevitably go on about big rats. Just can't be asked.
Oh, we would have to find a way to show that big rats aren't real, while having everyone in the world believe.
Just don't show them, and then no one's going to ever question it. Because why would it? Anyway.
Rodents.
Anyway,
I can't make that joke again. Anyway,
Dresden Files, Eisenhorn.
Yes.
The Old Kingdom. Mistborn. So those are our four that we've agreed on.
And I think of those four, our best shot at the Disney billions is actually Mistborn.
I think so. Unless we can convince Disney to do a renaissance of the Renaissance and do Old Kingdom in the sort of old school animation style.
Yeah, that's the other way to do it. And then we're getting the Disney billions rather than the Amazon billions.
Yeah. Yeah, we run both at the same time. The thing is, Sanderson is just, there's so much scope for series after series after series.
Well, the thing is with Sanderson is you can do really cool style shifts. So you do Mistborn Era 1 as a sort of Peaky Blinders, Guy Ritchie style. And then Era 2 is your sort of modern. So I'm trying to think of a sort of modern crime, almost like a Killing Eve. Or something
You've really thought about this, haven't you?
Or The Boys, even, you could do.
Oh, no.
Random and ultra-violent. You just cast.
You hear that season 4 has apparently got the most horrific thing you've seen on television.
How
Like one of
is...
the producers.
I mean, that's just the producer hyping things up, but also I've definitely seen all of my most horrific things on television while watching
It's
The
a
Boys.
truly horrific show.
It's awful.
It's great,
Like,
but it's truly horrific.
the scene in season 3 at the first... Is it episode 1, season 3?
I've not seen season 3 yet.
Have you not? Oh.
Because you can only watch so much of The Boys at once.
The first... I think it's the first episode has a scene that actually nearly... has a scene, sorry, that actually nearly made me stop watching.
Oh, wow.
I was just like... Not because I'm not squeamish, but I was just like, oh, this is just awful and gratuitous.
Wow, okay. That I kind of want to see that now.
I think it was season 3. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
It's full of stuff. Anyway, The Boys is already a good TV show, and we're going to surpass it in quality, obviously.
Mm-hmm. I don't think you do Era 2 Mistborn as The Boys. I think that was a mistake. I shouldn't have said that.
Well, that's going on my little notepad. And on that note, I think we could bring this to a close. The first episode of season 2. We've waffled for ages and ages, and pretty sure no one's listening at this point. If you are, let us know on Discord. And of course, if you are, as always, thanks for listening to this episode of Expertise is Overrated. No doubt we've said some things that were either objectively wrong or downright offensive. As ever, feel free to let us know, rate the podcast and leave us a comment, or drop us an email at expertiseisoverrated@gmail.com. Tweet us at @0expertise. Check out our website, expertiseisoverrated.podbean.com, or come join us on our Discord server.
If you're lucky, we might just argue with you in one of our upcoming episodes. And if you're really lucky, we might call you an idiot. And make sure you come back next time for some more absolute nonsense.